So my name is Cliff Dennett, and I was CEO of Soshi Games. We started the business about just over 5.5 years ago, and the idea was that we'd capitalise on the enormous kind of growth in social games and combine that with the music industry. One of the biggest things that we did, I think, was create a really good reputation within the music business. So we built up a lot of trust, the relationships with the record labels, managers of some of the biggest bands that have ever been on the planet, and that takes quite a long time. But we got there and we achieved it, and it led to launching this game with Queen. And Queen have never before done a mobile app, or they've been very scarce in sort of digital projects generally, and it's down to trust, and we managed to achieve that. I kind of expected to kind of go out to managers of bands and record labels and say, would you like some free money? And they just say yes and sign here. Actually, what they said was, well, yes, please, but that's not enough free money. And by the way, we want 10 times that and up front. And so, the whole process became a lot more lengthy. I had to negotiate the complexities of the music industry pretty much with zero knowledge, actually. So typically a contract would take 18 months to close rather than 3 months. So we took in funds from investors through SyndicateRoom. We just launched a pretty significant online social game, music festivals game. And we needed the funds to, number one, grow the development team, but also to give us some time to sign up more music artists, more big bands. So pretty much all of the investment has been on employment costs, so people. The model of the business was to try and avoid spending any money at all on marketing. All the marketing would come from partners. We team up with the massive bands, they promote out to their fan bases, and that would provide the marketing. And in return, we'd revenue share. So it was going to be much better for cash flow for the business, less cash risk basically. You're not paying up front for marketing, you're only sharing revenue once the customers have started paying Soshi. So all the money was raised to pay for the development team and for business development, me predominantly, to go out and sign up big bands. We had some enormous successes in the last kind of 18 months. I mean, since the SyndicateRoom funding, we launched this massive social networking game, achieved 1.3 million installs globally, and became revenue generating, and subsequently launched a mobile app for one of the biggest bands on the planet, Queen. But unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. Yeah, the whole gaming landscape changed in the period that we were running Soshi Games, and very, very quickly. What happened was people suddenly, almost, not quite overnight, but in a sense, just demanded everything for free. People would pay right at the start of social networking games and the start of the mobile, start of the app stores. People would pay for things. Angry Birds is a classic example. But very, very quickly that changed. And by the time we actually got to launch our major social game product and our major mobile game product, the actual sort of business model for the whole thing had changed. When we proposed to launch the first product, the market was very different. And it's moved a lot to what's become known as freemium. Give everything away for free at the start, and then try and hook people in, and then charge them for in-app purchases. That's that's a very new thing for the music industry to swallow. When you've got a brand like Queen, you don't give stuff away. Rolling Stones, you don't give stuff away. You charge. It's a premium brand. So, and I still think that can work given enough time. But it doesn't work in this kind of time period you have as a startup business. One of the other big changes that happened over the period we were running the business was that the cost of customer acquisition, marketing costs, for both social games and particularly mobile games just went through the roof. Everybody saw the opportunity. All the little games companies saw the opportunity and built businesses and got games out there and launched them on the app stores and on Facebook, and really flooded the market. And then you have these few big players, the sort of zingers, the kings of the mobile space, who just spend a fortune on advertising. It pushes the cost of advertising up for everybody else. So in the period from when we started to when we finally had to liquidate, I think customer acquisition costs went up somewhere between 5 and 10 times. And when you're doing deals with rights holders and sharing revenues, that means the ROI for each one of those customers goes negative pretty quickly. It's very difficult to recoup back that original kind of acquisition cost. I don't think any of the assumptions we made were necessarily incorrect. I just think they were right at the time when we thought we were going to launch. By the time we'd actually got product out there, then they changed. Then the assumptions were, especially with marketing reach through Facebook. You used to do a post on your Facebook page and it would reach a large percentage of your user base. Between the time we launched our first game and when we had to liquidate, that post reach, dropped by a factor of somewhere between 30 to 50 times. Now, we hadn't anticipated that and the time it would take to get a product to market. If we could have moved faster, the assumptions would have been more correct. The other thing I think was, and we couldn't, I'm not sure we could have done any more at the time, was I don't think we could ever quite raise enough money to move fast enough. And what that means is, the market kind of outpaces you. And it's very difficult. One of the things I picked up from this is quite difficult to convince investors and convince yourself that you actually need 3 times more money than you actually think you need, because you need to move, 3 times as fast as you think you're going to. I definitely underestimated. In fact, it never came into my mind how much taking money from people would play on your mind and the emotional impact of that. These were guys, they're not family, but they were professional associates and turned into very close friends. Actually, a lot of them through the process of doing Soshi, and they've all been very, very supportive. But if you think that you're going to have sleepless nights taking institutional money in, try taking money from the people who you know and see how many sleepless nights it gives you. So that's one thing I took away from this. I don't think I'd do that again. I'd probably only focus on professional investors who I didn't know, but who weren't colleagues as well. And then that said, I can't wait to do it again. It's been an incredible emotional roller coaster, especially the last 6 to 12 months has been extremely difficult. But just, creating that team that stays with you and just keeps trying and keeps trying. And, little business in Birmingham made a product and launched with one of the biggest rock bands on the planet. That doesn't happen very often. And we did do that. We didn't quite make it a commercial success, but I can't wait to get back stuck in again. Relationship with the investors. I don't know whether I've just been lucky or whether I've gone to, the right people for investment, big up SyndicateRoom for their choice of investors. I don't know, but all of the investors I've taken on, and we've probably ended up with 40, I think, individual kind of investors, a couple of institutional ones, and then individual angels, have just been incredibly supportive. Many of them, got involved very much with the advising, and I know that all of them I probably could have picked the phone up and taken advice from. When it came to liquidate the business, and there was a lot of pain to go through to write that email out to the investors to say, I'm sorry, this is what we're doing. Just overwhelming support, great positive emails and phone calls, and nobody can say you didn't try, and give it your all, so yeah, I've been a bit kind of overwhelmed by all that actually. Yeah, I learned a lot about myself doing this. One of the things, this is a very difficult thing to do, starting a business, raising investment, creating a strategy, getting a team on board, keeping them all engaged, keeping everybody believing, yourself believing in it. I've learned a lot about my own, tenacity about this. I didn't think I'd stick something out like this, and you need to really stick things out doing this and really believe in your darkest moments. So it's taught me so much about my own, inner strength, and my own weaknesses as well. I got pretty emotional about an awful lot of things that I probably shouldn't have done. I would definitely do it all again. Yeah, without question. I mean, I've been, obviously I've got to look about what's next for me now, and I've started looking, and do I want a job? Do I want to go and work for someone else? And everything's just screaming at me, startup. I'm not sure I have a great idea at the moment, but if there was one out there that I could help with, I'd leap at it.